Okay, so we have our next children's author. And did you meet her at the festival? Did you meet Ashley Irvin at the
I'm
festival?
thinking I may have.
They
I'm
were,
I'm horrible sometimes. I know the name and then I have to see the face.
mm. But Ashley is she's unique in terms of um, she was a winner of the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards last year in two different categories with two different books.
Yes.
She submitted two different books and she won in both categories that she submitted in. And so I'm trying to remember, don't quote me, but I don't think anybody else has done that the same year, one with two different books,
Well, that says a lot
two
about you.
different categories. So,
Wow.
so welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. I'm
And
honored.
and the books were just beautifully done. So I don't know if you are self-published or not, but um, they were just really exceptional and stood out in the judging process because we have a panel of judges and we have a very lively discussion. We look at each book and it's a point system. So from 0 to 5, each book, and we also do decimals. So you can do 1.5 or 3.5. So we have a panel of 6 judges and we add up all the scores. So that's how we determine who wins in each category. Well, that's how we determine the finalists and then the winners in those categories. So the two categories you were in, do you have your two books handy?
I don't.
You don't, because I wanted people to see how beautiful they
Oh,
were.
Ashley.
You don't have
I'm
them anywhere
sorry. I've been
at home.
busy.
You don't have them anywhere at home where you can go around real quick and get one
It's in my car. If you
handy.
would,
Oh,
you
no, that
want.
might be a little far.
Oh.
Well, is it far? Is it right outside?
Hmm?
I want people to see at least one of them
Okay,
because they're
well, we can
really
wait
nice.
then. Go ahead. We'll
Yeah.
talk
No,
amongst
and because
ourselves.
we can talk
Okay.
about something else. As a matter of fact, we can talk about the book we're giving away and in this part, but the book is for the next guest. So
Right.
our final guest has a name that is beautiful and long and that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. Starts with an O, but the name of her book is Operation Sisterhood. And she has more than one Operation Sisterhood book. So this one is called Stealing the Show. It's the subhead is Stealing the Show. And the trivia for this book is that the main character has someone in her neighborhood who the main character's name is Sunday, and someone in Sunday's neighborhood is a TV star. And what we want to know for the trivia question is what is the star's name? The TV star, the neighborhood friend that lives in Sunday's neighborhood. Sunday's the main character. And what is her name? So if you get the answer to that, you win your copy of this Operation Sisterhood book. So Ashley's back. And do you have both books or just one?
I have one.
Okay, now this one is The Little Shepherd and the Lost Sheep. And this book won the Best Illustrator book. The illustrations in this book are just beautiful. Very,
You
very
finished it
amazing.
so fast.
So just leaf through there, just, show a few
I
of the pictures.
remember that book.
Yes, yes. Show the audience some of the illustrations in the book. And
Yes.
I'm assuming it's based on Jesus. Is it based on that or Christian culture,
Mm-hmm.
scripture? So it's just so beautifully done, and we were just blown away by the illustrations on that. So tell us what this story is about.
So yeah, so it is based off of the biblical story about the lost sheep. And so I
Okay.
figured, well, let me, kind of recreate the story in a way that children could read and understand it. So basically, I create a story about a father is teaching his son the ways of being a shepherd. And then one of their sheep goes missing. So a storm comes through the farm, it breaks the fence, and the sheep goes missing. And so the father is telling the son the importance of going after, this one sheep because, he's lost, he's scared. So, and that sheep belongs to them. So they go out on a journey um, looking for the lost sheep. And then in the end, they find, where the sheep ended up. But yeah, it's a retelling of the biblical story of the lost sheep.
And it's very accurate too. I remember being in church and the pastor described that the kennel, I don't want to say kennel, but for lack of a better term, I'll say kennel, and how it looked and how there's only one gate. And
Mhm.
you have that illustrated there perfectly.
Yes. So,
Now, what was the inspiration behind depicting the lost sheep, the parable of the lost sheep? Was it a parable?
um,
I think it was a parable.
I think
But
one is because it is a good story with so many
mm,
different, meanings, and you could, really recreate. I think just be able to recreate that story into a children's book. And also
Right.
too, my family, we have a property, and so we have sheep. So having sheep is like we understand, how sheep are, the ways of, taking care of the sheep, leading them to the pasture, protecting them. So it's like, well, because I have some experience with it, it just makes sense to write, the story.
Makes sense.
wow, wow. So where do you live? Where you have the sheep?
In San Antonio,
Oh, you do. You have sheep in. So you're not? Are you in the city of San Antonio or like the
just the
sub the
outskirts.
outskirts? I don't. We have horses in Houston, like in the city,
Oh.
but I don't think we have sheep. That's why. But some people have chickens, and even though it's against some of the deed restrictions, now people are getting them so they can get eggs at a reasonable cost. So,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
we
we
have
have
a lot
chickens
of,
as well. So,
okay, we have a lot of horse farms in and around Houston. And right now we're in the middle of our rodeo, which is like the Mardi Gras, but for Houston,
hmm.
it's the rodeo. It's a 3 week thing, and it's a huge event where people do trail rides and come from all over, and they have a lot of artists perform. Um,
I still like Fiesta myself.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Yeah, very lively.
where's Fiesta?
In
Is
San
that San
Antonio.
Antonio? Okay.
Hmm.
I was born in San Antonio, but I never
That
lived
was
there.
my sister.
Okay. Was she born at Fort Sam?
No, she was born at Lackland.
Okay. So I was born at Fort Sam, Houston. So, but my dad was in the military at the time. So, but I've only visited San Antonio since. San Antonio is a nice touristy town,
It
especially
is.
with that river right in the middle. It's really,
Yes,
Hmm.
really nice.
very pretty.
It gets hot though. I mean, Houston's hot too, but we went to SeaWorld when my daughter was, I think she was like 10, something like that. It was so hot. We went for the 4th of July one weekend instead
Oh
of,
yeah, in July, the middle of summer. Ooh,
it
child.
was so hot at SeaWorld. But it was beautiful that river where we did the riverboat ride and all of that. And that was really nice. So that's interesting that you all raise sheep. How many do you have in your herd? I guess it's called a herd.
Well, I heard.
Okay.
Well, we have four right now. We're starting off
Okay.
small, so.
Okay. So this is a new venture. Is it a new
Oh yeah,
thing
we're
you're
brand
trying?
new.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Okay. So do you shear the sheep? What?
Yeah, we actually just sheared the sheep this past weekend because it's getting
Okay.
hot now, so
Right.
take
Right.
that wool off of them to cool them down.
That makes
So,
sense.
so do you sell the wool? What do you do with
This
the
is
wool?
our first year, so we're not sure what we're gonna do with it yet. We kept it,
Okay.
so we're not sure what we're gonna do with it just yet.
You can make some nice pillows.
Hmm. My mom sews, so who
Well,
knows?
you
Mm.
see movies and they have a like the a sheepskin that they use for a cover, like a wrap
Hmm.
or a blanket or whatever. So that's interesting. So it tied right in to the theme of your story. Now you also won in the coloring and activity books category with the
Yeah.
book that you don't have a copy of with you, but it was called Detective Harper and the Bakery Mystery. And it was
Mhm.
also very beautifully illustrated. So uh, you were, your book stood out. Now, are those only two books you have, or do you have like more books?
I have one other book that was my first book. It's called The Sun's Redemption. And it's basically about a king who tells his two sons, basically, um, he goes off, out of the castle. And so he told his two sons to, you could do whatever you want to do, you could have whatever you want, but just don't leave the palace. And so it's kind of a story about disobedience because they end up leaving the palace. And then two common boys, I guess you would call them, would come. They switch places, so they kind of drew the two
Wow.
princesses out to, and I guess like imposters. So they entered the palace as the prince. So when the princes came back to enter the palace, they would say, "Well, this is where the princes." They're like, "Well, y'all just, the princes just entered back in. So who are y'all?" So like kind of like a disobedience and their, the consequence of not listening to your parents.
Oh, okay. Now, are you an educator or what do you like do?
No, I actually work in with TRICARE. I don't know if the military.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Um,
I'm a veteran, so thank you.
okay, yeah, I work with Humana. So I do authorizations for mental health and substance use. And so for active duty service members and their families, I would help locate, treatment for them and then refer them
Right.
out.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
what inspired you to do children's books?
I think it's because it's more children these days, I guess, are more like, tech savvy, more into computers and phones. And so, oh, my lights went out. Oh, mine just went out.
Well, I
Can
hate
y'all
when
see
that
me
happens. But
okay?
don't we see you? It's a little darker now,
Okay.
but we can still see you.
So I just feel like I want to create stories to where it's kind of interactive. That's kind of what inspired me with the Detective Harper book. I want to
Hmm.
do books that's interactive, that is educational, going back to morals and values and making it fun to where children are not so like, technology, savvy and more getting
Right.
back to reading again, getting back to, common sense and, the ways of, our forefathers, going back to sewing and keeping sheep, gardening. So it's that kind of mindset of just getting our children back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tear the kids away from not even just kids. You can't even tear the adults away from all of the technology these days.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
oh, it's even
agree.
harder with the kids.
I agree. One thing that really bothers me when I go out shopping is to see a mother with her face in her phone and her kid is just kind of following along. I'm like, the way she's focused on the phone, that kid could wander off. I mean, these aren't
Hmm.
big kids. These are like maybe 6, 7, 8 years old. They could wander off and she wouldn't even know they were gone
Hmm.
because she's
Yeah.
so focused on that phone. So
Right.
um, there have been a lot of studies about the need for more engagement, more socialization for children and adults.
Hmm. It
Because
starts at home, basically.
mhm,
It starts
it
at
does start
home.
at home,
Hmm.
and you can't wait for your kid to get an epiphany to tear them away from their device. You have to take the device away and also have something else that you engage with that they can be doing besides that. Because
Right.
if you start giving them those, people give the kids tablets at 2 years old, and And I know they're trying to keep them quiet, but you really get them hooked on those devices where they
Hmm.
Well,
really can't.
I'll also say that I've started looking at the video games a little differently because kids are actually learning a lot of life skills like decision making and other there are other things that go into playing video games that we don't always realize. And so if a child is going to be into the video games, yes, they still need to have have their responsibilities taken care of, their homework, chores, so forth, whatever it is. But often that time that they play on the video games is their time to decompress. And then they're
Mhm.
also learning um, critical thinking skills and decision making skills by playing these games. These are things that we don't think about because we didn't grow up with it. Our extent of video games was Atari. Well, mine. I mean, I don't know how old you are actually, but yeah, but Atari was basically the first game system. And we only got to play that every once in a while. That wasn't something that we were able to pull out every 5 minutes and play.
No, because
But
they were playing on the TV. You had to like
exactly,
trim
and
the
Hmm.
everybody had
television,
the one
right?
TV, so you can't play it on.
So you could only get a little bit of time on there because everybody had to use that television. Now it's a
Right.
television in every room. So it's a little bit, and then they have the tablet. My concern is they may be learning some motor skills, or they might have to decide, do I pick this color or that? And I'm just using that for an example, but they're not learning social skills. They're not learning how to look somebody in the eye and talk to them.
Hmm.
Engaging in a conversation, just talking. They're missing out on that. And so it's just like anything. There needs to be balance. That's
No,
all.
there does need to be balance, but
Mhm.
like I said, we adults are not the best social people either because we're like this the whole time.
Yes,
Um,
I'm
have you
see,
ever
I'm
gone
I'm
out to
not,
eat?
but
Have you ever gone out to
mm,
eat and you'll see four people sitting at the table and all four of them are on their phones?
yeah, well, we have a rule at home. When we all at dinner, nobody is on their phone. The phones are put away. We don't do phones at dinner because we talk. And so, but I do remember one thing I remember is my first, like when phones first came out, and my husband and I went out to dinner, and somebody was on their phone, and I thought that was so rude that they were using their phone instead of, and you're at a restaurant where you're supposed to be interacting. And I can remember it was just so, now everybody does it. But
Hmm.
then when it was new, when not everybody had a phone, this was probably, it might be pre-flip phones. I don't know. The first phones, I can't, I don't know if they flipped or not. They were big and they had like an antenna or something. I can't remember exactly, but I remember that really, like, I thought it was so rude. But now it's really different if people aren't on their phones. There's, when you go out to a restaurant, there's nothing out of the ordinary. But it was when the phones first came out. So, now it's commonplace.
Hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
But
So,
but I know we started talking about video games and so forth,
mhm.
but what's next for you, Ashley? Do you have a
Oh,
new
so going
book?
back, yeah, to go Detective Harper. So with that book, I want to do a three-book series. So with that book, it's interactive. So each page it has a magnifying glass, and it's uniquely hidden in the each page. And then
Oh wow.
secondly, there is a code in the book. And so being a like a detective, book, I wanted to create like a mystery type, feeling. So in the book, there's a code for the children to find. And so when they
Hmm.
find that code, they would go to my website, put that code in, and it will unlock games based off of the book.
I love that.
So
Yeah,
that I want to do
that's
a
a lot of
three-book
thinking.
series
That was,
off of that.
okay. See, that takes really intentional thought and planning and a higher level of creativity to have
Mhm.
that happen. So did the kids do that? Did they go on there to find the
Yeah,
clues?
I had a lot of children go to the website and, play the different games and stuff. But yeah,
And
so I
that
incorporate.
gives me a thought for my next book. I have a children's book series, and I'm planning to do book 6. If I don't do it this year, it'll be next year because I have another book that I'm hoping to get done this year too. So, but that gives me an angle, and I wouldn't do what you were doing exactly because I don't like. But QR codes are so common now that people are using it for
Mhm.
everything. So I could incorporate that in the storyline somehow. Um, and that gives me a creative thought that I could use for my next book, which is totally it's about, my book series is about teaching children to be entrepreneurs. So I could, easily incorporate something with codes in there. So so when you could we had a picture of you from the book festival that we posted with you interacting with the kids. I think you were either doing story time
That was a cute picture.
of you. I don't know if you saw it because we were posting pictures for weeks. I had so many pictures from the festival. And the thing about, my photographer takes really good pictures, but they don't have names. So some of the people had their badge on, but some of them didn't. So, or some had it turned around. So it took a lot of work to just put names with the faces, and we had to get the team to look and say, "Do you know who this is?" and all of that. So it and we had like 400 photos. So it's
Oh,
not a
wow.
small number of photos.
Hmm.
So, but it was interactive. And when we posted the pictures, we emailed every author when we did it, but you may have missed the email. So, and I emailed you the photos too. When we posted them, we emailed the actual
So
photos.
Ashley, you better go back and check your
Go look at
email,
your
girl.
email. So and you can put it on your own website and all that. But that's really great. So it's amazing that you're thinking of these really creative things for kids and you're not in the education field. That's why I thought you were an educator.
Oh
Because
no.
your planning was so well thought out, and your illustrations are amazing. How did you find your illustrator?
So for the Little Shepherd and Lost Sheep, I found this program where they offer like the editor, the formatter, like everything I need. So
Oh,
I just kind of
okay.
search online for, so some help to get my book going. I just found this company, Global Book Publishing, um, and they're the ones that did everything for me.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, I did mine's piecemeal. I have one person that does the illustrations, I have a formatter, I have somebody who does
I think both options are
PDF.
good depending on your needs.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
'Cause
agree. I agree.
right. I mean, because in Ashley's case, it was good to have one person who, or not one person, but one program
One
that did
entity.
everything.
Hmm.
But then, Gwen, since you've been around for a while, you probably know who you want to work with for such things, and you may not want to go with the program because you're used to working with certain people.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, it depends on what, illustrators are. Did you just do the same thing for both books, Ashley?
Yes, but it
Because
was two
sometimes you
different.
change your illustrator depending on your theme. Like some illustrators are good
Hmm.
with certain types of illustrations, but like for cover art, necessarily you may want to use somebody totally different. Not you, a
Hmm.
person. Because
Right.
it's all kinds of options out there. It's lots of, the thing we're in a brave new world where self-published authors can do so much on their own, and their projects still look very professional. And do you consider yourself to be self-published or with the company doing your project, like putting it together, like that part? Is that
It's
still going as
self-published because the company isn't like a traditional publishing company. They're like a hybrid. So
okay?
they're not considered a publishing company. So I'm self-published.
It's
Okay.
kind of a done for you type thing. They do it for you, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like a turnkey thing operation where you give them. But did they add it too?
Mhm. They did
Okay, so
everything.
they do that.
Mhm.
Okay, they did that too. Okay, well that's interesting. So, give us the show us the cover of the book again, and then let people know how they can order your books or find out more about you and the work that you're doing.
So both books, this one and then Detective Harper and the Bakery Mystery, they're both available on Amazon.
Okay.
Um, and then my website is authorashleyirvin.com, and you can find it there as well.
Okay. Well, congratulations again on winning the awards.
Thank
And when you
you.
found out, well, were you present when we announced? Were you, because we did the announcement at
No.
the festival. So you missed that part. So when did you find out that you won?
When I got the email.
Oh, okay. And
Well, thanks for
did you
checking your email.
yeah, that's good. Did you think it was real? Were you like,
I was shocked because I thought because I also the same book this book I also submitted this to what's the company name? It's another award book award, and it was the same thing, illustrator, it was an illustration category, and I was a finalist. So I thought when I was listed as a finalist with y'all, I thought that was it. I know there was an actual winner. So I knew it
oh,
was a
okay.
finalist, but I know there was a winner. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we do five finalists and then we do one winner in each category. And the winner, the finalists all get the gold sticker to put on
hmm
their book. But the winner gets a really nice award and the sticker. And you got two awards. So
yes.
yeah, so well, and we like to surprise people because people normally, I know when I've been nominated for something or became a finalist, uh, I was very excited. So it's exciting for your work to be recognized.
hmm
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Ashley, thank you for being a guest on the show and continued success with your books.
Thank you so much.
Have a
And you
great
have a
night.
wonderful evening.
Alrighty, you too.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.